And here we are in section 1.2, video number 2. Welcome, and let's begin. It's now time for example number 11, which is x minus 2 over x minus 5 equals x plus 6 over x minus 7. Now it doesn't take too much to realize the least common denominator is x minus 5 times x minus 7. But another way to look at this is if we have a ratio equals a ratio, then we can do cross products and accomplish the same thing. So we're going to take x minus 2 times x minus 7, and that will equal x minus 5 times x plus 6. Foiling this side, we get x squared minus 9x plus 14, and foiling the right side, we get x squared plus x minus 30. Now it just becomes a problem like we have looked at in the past, subtracting x squared from both sides. Subtract x from both sides. Subtract 14 from both sides. And finally divide both sides by negative 10. We get x equals 44 over 10, which equals 22 over 5. And the last problem in this group is example number 12. 4 over x plus 9 equals 5 over x plus 18 minus negative 36 over x squared plus 27x plus 162. Now, as it turns out, we need an x plus 9, we need an x plus 18, and if we look carefully, or actually do calculation here, this is x plus 9 times x plus 18. So this is the least common denominator right here. So what do we need to multiply this by? We need to multiply both the numerator and denominator by x plus 18. So it becomes 4 times x plus 18. We have to multiply this by x plus 9. So 5 times x plus 9. And this, when we multiply by x plus 9, x plus 18, it simplifies to a negative 36. So then we're going to distribute this and go from there. 4x plus 64 equals 5x plus 45 plus 36. Combining like terms, 4x plus 64 equals 5x plus 81. Subtract 5x from both sides. Subtract 64 from both sides. And divide both sides by negative 1 so that x equals negative 17. The next group of problems asks us to take formulas and solve for particular variables, which simply means get that variable all by itself and everything else on the other side. So we begin with example number 13. 13 is s equals 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared, and we are asked to solve for h. So in other words, get h all by itself. Well, the first thing that has to happen is we have to subtract this out. So subtracting this from both sides, we get 2 pi r h equals s minus 2 pi r squared. Then we need to divide by 2 pi r everywhere. So we divide everything through by 2 pi r, and this becomes an h. And then we get s over 2 pi r. Then when we take 2 pi r squared divided by 2 pi r. The 2's cancel, the pi's cancel, and one of the r's cancels, so we're left with just the r. And this is what h equals using this original formula. Example number 14, p equal rp minus 7q over 5 equals p plus 3 all over 2 plus 1, and we have to solve for p. Now, in order to solve for p, since we have two of them, the first thing we have to do is to make sure that we get all of the p's to one side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this 2 to both the p and the 3, and so this becomes p minus 7q over 5 equals p over 2 plus 3 halves plus 1. And then I can subtract p over 2 from both sides. Well, that's 1/2 p. p minus 1/2 p is p over 2. And then I can also combine like terms. 3 halves plus 1 is 5 halves. Now I can add 7q over 5 to both sides. So we get p over 2 equals 7q over 5 plus 5 halves. And then finally multiply everything through by 2 to get rid of that 2 there. So that p equals 14q over 5 plus 5. And there is the answer. We have solved for p. And the final group of problems here deals with 3 word problems, and it's just a matter of reading them carefully, setting it up, and then going from there. During an intramural basketball game, Team A scored 12 fewer points than Team B. So that means Team A is whatever B scored minus 12. Together, both teams scored a total of 146 points. So A plus B better equal 146. How many points did Team A score? Well, the thing is, what we've got going on here is the fact that A is equal to B minus 12. So here, instead of putting A, we can put in B minus 12. So we can do B minus 12 plus B equals 146. Combining like terms, we get 2B minus 12 equals 146. Add 12 to both sides, and then divide both sides by 2, and B would equal 78. Now, unfortunately, that does not answer the question. We want to know how many points did A score. Well, come back up here. If B scored 78, then A is going to take whatever B scored and subtract 12 from it, and we get 66. Realize that it does make sense to actually verify that this does make sense. Did they score a total of 146 points? 78 and 66? That doesn't work out quite right. (66) and 78 is not quite 146 points. So where did we go wrong? Let's see. B minus 12 plus B better equal 146. 2B minus 12 equals 146. So 2B equals 158. That's where I went wrong. Then dividing both sides by 2, we get 79. Then this would become a 79 up here and a 67. Now, the 67 and 79, that does add up to be 146. And is that 12 points fewer? And the answer is yes. So how many points did A score? 67 points. And then example number 16. Going into the final exam, which will count as 2 tests, Emily has test scores of 77, 82, 68, 62, and 91. So we know that she has 77, 82, 68, 62, and 91, and she's got one more test that's actually going to count worth 2 tests. What score does Emily need on the final in order to have an average score of 80? Well, if I count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a total of 7 test scores, and I want it to equal 80. So then it's just simply solving for t here. What does she need to get on this final test score? So multiply both sides by 7. Add all of these like terms right here, and that becomes 380 plus 2t equals 560. Subtract 380 from both sides, so that 2t equals 180, and divide both sides by 2 so that t equals 90. And so what does she need to get on the final exam? She needs to get a 90%.